good evening, good evening, and happy Sabbath, Southeastern Conference family. Good evening, Pastor Crockett. Good evening, Pat. How are you all doing this evening?
Doing great. Good evening. Good evening. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Today is a good day.
Yes, it
It's
is.
good to see each of you all.
It's a wonderful day because we know today, one, we are celebrating the Sabbath. It's an opportunity for us just to have permission to rest.
That's right.
And so I'm excited because that means for the next 24 hours, as we know, we just get to reflect on what God has been doing in our lives this week, and we hope for Him to do in our lives to come.
That's right.
And so we're here tonight because we want to just talk a little bit about Convocation 2023. And I don't know about you all, but I'm so excited about Convocation this year because we've been planning long and hard, and we know God is about to show up and show out. And so before we get started, I wanted to just kind of open us up with a conversation starter about what is this is my why. Like if people were asking out there and they wanted to just figure out how did we land on this is my why? Like how did we arrive there? Like what is this is my why?
So, originally in our conversation, we wanted to go back to the fundamentals
Okay.
and our foundation. And we want the generations to come and currently to know why and what they stand for. And in doing so, we decided to say we want to talk about what is our why and what we stand for. So when the earth, when the world tries to rat our faith, we should be able to stand up. We
Right.
want our young people, the children, to be able to stand up
Right.
and
Yeah.
let them know I understand the truth. I know my Bible truths, and they're able to speak up and speak out and stand firm in the Word of God.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I think the reality of it is, man, life is difficult. Like our young people, whether they are children, whether they are young adults, whether they are youth, they are faced with a lot of challenges,
Right.
a lot of temptations,
Right.
and with that comes questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so there also are challenges with identity,
Right.
especially post pandemic,
Right.
where so much of what we were and our identity and our norm has shifted to where there's this distance, and where once our young people used to be able to gather routinely for 2 years, there was separation. And when you are separated, when you are isolated, it can be for the good, it can be for the bad. A lot can happen in that separation, in that isolation. And so we just wanted to create a space where youth, young adults, children can come together and declare what their why is.
Right.
Like there's purpose. God has purposed your life. Like there is a why. Um, there are things that you've been going through. There's a why.
Right.
And why do you choose to be a Seventh-day Adventist Christian? There's a why.
Right.
And so we want to just create a space where we can discuss that.
Right. And I think what I love the most about this is it's that it's a safe space. Because oftentimes we have these questions and many people may not understand how to address and approach our why. When I think about like how I've journeyed through ministry, I've had parents and young people, just question God. Like if God is so good, why did my grandmother, who was very faithful in church and was a sweet woman, why did she die of terminal cancer? And I've had young people, just ask a lot of questions that can seem so complex when we give them responses, we invite them into these safe places to let them know that we're not here to judge. We're not here to scold. We're not here to just allow you to not ask your questions, but we want you to feel safe to say like Pastor Crockett or Pastor Lindsay or Pat, like I'm struggling in my faith and I don't know why. Or I'm battling with deep depression and I'm praying the prayers. I'm reading the Bible text. I'm talking to my faith leaders. but I'm still in this dark place. So does God care? Like, why doesn't God care? And so I think us coming together and addressing this from a children's point of view, and I like how you're doing this, Pat. Like, you have them as mini investigators.
Absolutely.
And you have them, just being curious about some of the foundations of our faith. And I know you're going to talk about this, Pastor Crockett, about the amazing grace. Just to kind of put into perspective that we all may be running this rat race of life, but we're doing it gracefully, and I know I'll come and talk a little bit about our young adults and how they're going to address their why. So what does our weekend look like? I know that's been one of the big questions about what does our weekend look like. We have some special guests that will be joining us.
For sure.
So Pastor Crockett, share with us, who's our special speaker for the weekend?
All right. We have Pastor Damian Chandler.
Okay.
And this man of God is gifted. He's talented.
Yeah.
He preaches. He can even do a little acting if you were at Oshkosh a couple of times ago. He was the main presenter there. And then he's musically gifted also.
Right.
And so he's going to be our speaker for our youth and young adult in the main pavilion.
Wow. And so this speaker has the ability to connect intergenerationally, is what I'm hearing. Is able to connect with our club ministries, our Pathfinders, as well as our young adults who will be in the same space on Sabbath morning. But I think parents are excited because as we're connecting with our speaker and what's happening in the main pavilion, parents may be wondering, I want my children to come and I don't want to be distracted from getting this blessing. So how can my children be ministered to during this amazing experience? Pat, you want to share with us about Convocation Kids?
Absolutely. We are so excited that the kids will not only be able to attend, but they'll be attended to. And we have a dynamic group of leaders that will be working with your kids. We make sure that their background check have been completed. So they're not only going to be in a safe place because they're going to be in the house of the Lord, but we make sure that every person that's working with the kids will have a background check. In addition to that, we have a lot of activities where each student will have the opportunity to find Bible truths themselves. We're not going to spoon feed them. We want them to investigate the word themselves so that they can understand it inside out. And it's very important that they get to know who God is for themselves. We hear the song, "It was good for my dear mother. It was good for my dear father." That's awesome, but I want it to be good enough for you. And I want you to know why it's good enough for you in 2023.
I love
it. I love it.
Man, I really love it. And I want us to even reflect back for a moment about our own convocation experience. So, let's take a second and think about, maybe one of those convocations in the past that really spoke to us. Maybe it was a song, maybe it was a spoken word, or maybe it was just being in the presence of people. Just having, when we think about convocation in the Bible, it was a celebratory time. It was a time where the children of Israel, they knew that leading up to this moment that they were going to worship God with all of the different tribes. And so as they made their preparations, their Sabbath meals were already prepped, but as they were leading up to this convocation, they led with song. They led with just, allowing God to speak to their hearts. And so let's reflect back for a moment, if you can, with me. What are some of your most fondest memories of convocation? How has it spoken to your life? And how would you like to reach somebody who's probably on the fence about, convocation and what it entails?
Yeah. I'll go back many moons. But growing up in Tallahassee, big shout out to District 1.
Okay.
Tallahassee Maranatha is the church where I grew up at. And we had a really strong and vibrant youth ministries at the time. But the one thing we did not have in the area was a major church school. So I'm a product of public education up until the time I went to Oakwood and then Andrews. And one of the challenges with that is that you just don't have a lot of opportunities to gather with people who believe what you believe. I mean, I have great friends that aren't Seventh-day Adventists, lifelong friends that aren't Seventh-day Adventists, but there's nothing like being around people who believe what you believe. And so Federation, whether it was MC Strong Federation or Convocation, was the perfect opportunity for me to come and to hang out and to be able to have good Christian fun, right? I can't say that fast forward now, however many years that's been, that I remember the sermons that were made or spoke to me. But I can tell you this, I have friends that I made at Convocation, that I made at camp meeting, I made at Hawthorne to this day. And then to go to Oakwood and to reconnect with them and so forth. Convocation to me is an opportunity to be poured into. It's an opportunity for our young people to be exposed to things that the local level perhaps don't have the resources to do. Not every church is able to bring in artists. Not every church is able to bring in a speaker all the way from the Northwest, right? And so they're able to have ministry opportunities and programming and activities that perhaps the local area are not able to afford, or even Federation. But then it's also just a safe place. So when I think about Convocation, that really is what it speaks to me.
I love that. I love that you were able to find that from District 1, because coming from sometimes public school, we are not afforded with that privilege of having like week of prayers.
Right.
So I would always hear about week of prayers. I come from South Florida, and, you know, to your same point is that I remember the long trip. So you had the privilege of having a 2-hour trip from Tallahassee.
For sure.
But when you're talking about South Florida, that's easy a 5 to 7, depending on how large your entourage is.
And how fast y'all do drive a little faster.
Come on.
Y'all do drive a little faster.
Shame the devil, tell the truth, right? But I think more importantly, it's the conversations in the car on the ride up. I think those are intimate moments where you get to have with your peers that sometimes you may not have at an AY. You know, being able to just get your Sabbath steps. So I won't kid you. Like when you're here on a Sabbath Convocation, I never thought I would walk so much.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll come with some clean shoes on and you leave with them all dusty, but you know, but at the end of it all, you knew that like those steps were worth it, because you were like just seeing people from the Orlando area or from maybe Jacksonville or just maybe up the road in Fort Lauderdale. So to me, Convocation was just those intimate conversations that we would have in the car ride up. And then just that anticipation to come back and to do it all over again. And so, Pat, tell us, what are some things you remember from Convocation?
Just piggybacking on everything you guys said, the opportunity to congregate with like-minded friends, same spiritual background. Shout out to Northside SDA Church, one of the churches that I grew up in, Salem SDA in Pompano.
Okay.
And Tabernacle of Miami. We had very strong youth presence and ministry, so it helped a lot. And anytime we had any sort of convocation or federation, we carpooled and we just had a great time and came back and witnessed about what we learned, what we got from it, and was able to make our ministry in our local churches stronger and better.
That's right.
That's what I like to hear. And you mentioned 3 major churches in the South Florida area.
Major.
Not diminishing the other churches, but these churches, you know, I've had the privilege and honor to be connected to in some way. And when I say major, Northside has a special place in my heart because my mother, she was a part of helping to start the Pathfinder Club. And you have some roots there too, Pastor Crockett.
For sure. My parents grew up in that church.
Yeah. So like when I think about Northside, I think about the vibrance of the music ministry from Northside, Salem, and Tabernacle. And these churches have definitely helped to lead the way. And some of the top, worship experiences, you can include Mount Pisgah. I don't want to start name dropping because I don't want any of our churches to feel offended or anything like that. But I know that these congregations have rich histories in having vibrant youth, children's, and even young adult ministries back in the day. And so I want to kind of pivot just to talk through like our registration process. And before we talk through that, we just want to collectively say our sincerest, apologies if there have been any confusion, if, you may have felt as though that things were not clear on our website. I think it's important to state that at the top, just because, as we're growing into our roles, there are things that we learn every single day.
Absolutely.
And as we're learning and growing, we also thank you so much for that grace that you extend to us. And I'm working alongside two of the most amazing. Can I just say that? Can I just shout y'all out for a second?
I appreciate it.
Ditto. Ditto. Right back at you.
Right back.
Two of the most amazing leaders that are just passionate. I think about you, Pat, like after a long school day, you have young people coming and trying to, get your ear, but, just being dedicated to this work in children's ministry, as well as you, Pastor Crockett. You're juggling a lot, but just wanted to shout you all out and just really give our sincerest apologies as we have just been trying to navigate our registration experience. But I'm confident that even today it's back up and we have some new information to share with you that we can help to guide you through the process. So some people have been asking, what if I just want to come for the day, or what will our meal plans look like? And let's help, get some clarity out there for those that may have those questions. And if you have questions, we want to invite you in the chat to engage with us. We're going to answer questions. But Pastor Crockett,
Sure.
Pat, share, like how can people navigate this registration?
All right, sure. So, this is a process that is evolving.
Right.
And so we're grateful for the calls, the text messages. Because of that, we've been able to try and smooth it out some.
Right.
And so basically what we've done is we've listed packages. So, because I know people were looking at the prices, and then people were concerned about the prices, and we want you all to know that when Convocation is over, we're not racking in money. Like, this is really a service. We're just trying to take the huge load off of. We're asking you all to help us with this. And so if you have 3 individuals who are going to stay in a cabin, it's $230 total.
Right.
So you divide that by 3. I'm a preacher, not a mathematician. But I think that's $70-something, right, per person.
The math is mathing.
Right, the math is mathing. Now, what does that include? That's going to include, now worship is free, all right? So those who want to come in for the day, you just want to worship with us, Sabbath school and worship, you're more than welcome to do that. Please pull up on us. Please check us out. We want to see you in the building. But that's going to include the afternoon activities, which we'll get into in a little bit. It's also going to include your meal. Chef Wes is going to be back in the kitchen making it happen. And so whatever is on the plate, I know it's going to be great.
Yes, it will.
And then also the concert. And then we also are going to have in the evening time skating. We have a skating rink. And we also have some little open rec. It's a little hangout space that we're trying to create. And then in the evening, we're going to have the cafe will be open. If you purchase your meal tickets, you'll be able to get an evening meal along with breakfast Sabbath morning.
Come on.
So it's a lot. I know some people are looking at that price and they're thinking, it's too much. But we really, honestly, you all, we really tried our best to make this as cost efficient as possible. 2 persons, $170 total.
Right.
$170 for two people. And that's if you're staying in a cabin with the bathroom. One person, if you want an entire cabin by yourself, $110.
Right.
Now we have other cabins that have bathrooms that do not have bathrooms. And if you stayed at Camp Hawthorne, you're familiar with the two. I actually prefer. Check me out for a second. I prefer the cabins without the bathroom.
Oh,
That's just me.
you take me back to
I
Oakwood.
I know. You have more space,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so for those cabins, four individuals are able to be in that cabin.
Okay.
So if four individuals are in a cabin without a bathroom, that's $280 total.
Right.
The math can math, but divide that 280 by four, right?
Right.
Three people, 220.
Right.
Two people, 160. One person, if you want an entire cabin by yourself without a bathroom, $100. Again, that's the registration, that's the concert,
Wow.
that's the meals,
Wow.
that's the afternoon, the evening activities.
Wow.
All of that is included. And it's also important that our children's ministry,
Yeah.
listen, you all,
Yeah.
Convocation Kids is free. It's free for our children.
Right.
right.
And I think that's important
Yeah.
because as I'm looking at, and it's not just that our children are the future and feeder programs, our children are the most vulnerable. They're the ones that need the most supervision. They need the most protection,
Yeah.
right? And we're saying, bring your children.
Please do.
Bring your children.
Bring
And
them.
it's not going to cost you a dime for the children for the convocation.
Right.
Now, there is a convocation kids meal, which is reduced.
Right.
You still will get breakfast. You still will get lunch. You still will get the evening dinner, right? It's reduced because they're children. We understand that, right? If you have an RV,
Come on.
come on, you can even pull up
Yes.
with the RV. And again, these prices are listed. I don't want to go all too much into the numbers, just because I want to, focus on the main thing.
Right.
But we have packages, whether it's four, whether it's 3, 2, or singular. They're there. And if you just want to come for the day,
For the day.
we have a package for you too. If you want to come for the day and meals, we got a package for you. If you want to come for the day, you just want to go to the concert.
Right.
You want to go old school, do a little potluck with some of the folk from your church.
Right.
Pop the trunk on them, right?
Right.
Get the cooler out, right? We have all that taken
Right,
care of.
right.
And so if you want to register, and you need to register because this is key.
Very key.
We're unable to,
Okay.
as good stewards, to just go out and buy an abundance of food and hope that you come. The food that we prepare is going to be based off of registration,
Absolutely.
Registration is key.
right? So if you don't register and there's no day, it's going to be the Sabbath, y'all.
Right.
So we're not taking payment on the Sabbath,
Right.
right? So it's important for us to register,
Yeah.
and to go through that process and to go ahead and get squared away. If you got a large group, I know that could be daunting. I know that could be challenging. I want to encourage you to call the office, and we are going to walk you through the steps.
Right.
If you can call and have the one person who's going to pay, have the credit card ready,
Yeah.
and we'll take that. Kathleen,
Right.
she's willing to make that transaction with you.
Right.
And so we're able to do large groups at one time so that a person doesn't have to, swipe the card over and over and over again. We're trying to make this as smooth of a process as possible. But that's the main thing. We need registrations. That's really going to drive what we're able to do based upon the numbers. So we need you all to register, and register. It's so critical. We have a
question.
question.
Yeah.
in the chat. We got a question in the chat.
A good question.
Let's see.
Is the concert for everyone, or is it included in the price? So, I think, as Pastor Crockett shared with, the concert, and we have to really talk about our guests at the concert.
Yeah.
I think it can't go without saying that we have two high value musical artists that are just leading gospel music right now. I can speak for KCJ. She has a trending song. And this has been my prayer. If God be for me, who can be against me?
Amen.
Mm.
Amen.
And I love that song because it comes from Romans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's biblical. It reminds us that God is writing for us, and it goes to, if people are questioning that why God, or if God exists, I think that song answers, and even that book of Romans, it answers the questions about God's presence in our life. And so as we reflect on the questions of who will be presenting, we have Kalante Gavin.
Come on, somebody.
Kalante Gavin is an anointed man of God that is amazing in his musical craft. We have Casey J. We got to give a special shout out to Phasia.
Come on, Phasia.
Because Phasia will be opening us up. And we know that they're dynamic.
Yes.
We know that their voices, it raises the roof in heaven. And I don't even know if heaven has a roof.
Come on.
But it raises the roof. We have our ministers that are coming all the way from South Florida.
Yeah.
And we know South Florida brings it.
They gonna come with it.
So we have to tell everybody. We have to tell everybody that that there's going to be a saturation of God's presence, and we're gonna have a commercial soon that's gonna highlight these musical talents of Kalante Gavin and Casey J. But in the meantime, as we get that commercial ready, I just want to talk through just that programming in the afternoon, because people may think, well, I came that way for an amazing preaching from our preacher for the day, but what about the afternoon programming? So I'm going to hold that thought, and I'm going to roll our commercial, and then when we get back, we'll talk a little bit about what our afternoon programming is going to look like. All right, so we're going to go into our commercial.
If I could only touch but the hem of his garment, I'ma give it all I have. Lonely. Come on, help me sing, y'all. This ain't no ordinary world. Oh, no it ain't, no it ain't, no it ain't. This ain't no ordinary. Yeah, the God I serve is greater. The God I serve is greater. So I'ma give it all I have. I'ma give it all I have in this world. It's only because precious is the flow that makes me white as snow. It was no other fount I know. It was nothing but the blood of Jesus. It was nothing but your blood, my Jesus.
We know that these two artists are going to come through and bless our hearts. In preparation for Convocation, I have these two songs on playback.
Come on.
I wake up in the morning just, saying, Alexa, play Casey J, Alexa, play Kalante Gavin, just to be in just ready mode and go mode, right?
Absolutely.
So that, I won't have to wait until we get there. It's already automatic. But I wanted to go right into that question that we had. And some of the questions are being answered in our chat. So we also welcome you, whether you are on YouTube, on our channel. And by the way, here's a quick plug. Please go over to YouTube and follow our page. We only have about 33 plus subscribers because we have a new page. And so we want to build this following up to be even stronger than Facebook. So when you have a moment, go to YouTube and follow our page at Southeastern Conference, and you'll see all of our information there. And so the question is asked, is the concert for everybody, or is it included in the price? And so I believe that answer, we have that answer for you. Pastor Crockett, Pat,
Sure.
you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I can jump right in. A part of our registration package, you're going to get like a badge or some identifying marker that you have registered. And if you have not registered, then the concert um, is not accessible. And it's important that I make that statement because, again, we need help. Of course, we're not we're not priced. This stuff is not priced at a price point for us to make money.
Right.
But we do need help defraying the cost of this level of ministry. We have children; they have to be supervised.
Right.
We have young adults. We have activities for them. And then to bring these artists in.
Right.
These things all cost, and so we're asking you all to register so that you all can be a part of the concert because we definitely
Right.
want you all in the building,
Yes.
hands raised,
Come on.
all right?
Come on.
Just worshiping the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords in spirit and in truth.
All right. So that price for you all is for a day pass. So we're calling it a day pass because you're just going to be hanging out with us for the day. And if you want the day pass, which includes the registration, because we'll talk briefly about what that registration entails, some of the programming that you all can expect. It also includes the concert, as well as meals. And so it's a full day of meals. We're going to have snacks in between just to make sure that, we're not only fed spiritually, but we're fed physically as well. And so that's $55 for the day pass A. And for day pass B, it's also registration, the concert, but this one is no meal. So for $20 additional, if you're able, you'll be able to have some meals with you if you pay the $55. If not, it'll be $35. So let's talk through about our afternoon programming. Pat, I know that Kids Convocation, Convocation Kids is planning something amazing, and I don't want to spill the beans. I know the deeds, but I want you to spill the beans. What can our parents expect from Convocation Kids in our afternoon programming? I'm excited. I don't know about you all, but I'm excited.
I'm very excited. I've already made sure I'm taking all my vitamins because we are going to be wrapped up, tied up, taken up in Jesus.
Come
We
on.
have
Come
so
on.
many activities. I don't want to give away, but just let you know, we're going to provide t-shirts, neon
Okay.
t-shirts, because we want to be able to spot our kids. So as soon as they come in, we want you to make sure they come in comfortable clothes. We're not asking you to bring them in their traditional Sabbath attire. Let them wear tennis shoes and let them wear their jeans. We're going to have t-shirts. We're going to be crawling. We're going to be climbing.
Oof.
I don't want to say too much. We're going to be investigating the word of God. We're thinking out the box. And it's going to be very interesting, very engaging,
Right.
very involving. That's why we're asking that you register, because we need to know how many kids we need to
Right,
cater to.
right.
That will help us make sure we have enough adult supervision and materials,
Yeah,
t-shirts,
that's important.
arts and craft. It's a slew of things that we need to make sure we have enough for every child. We don't want any child to come and we don't have enough. We don't want any child left out. So from morning to afternoon, just prepare to be blessed in the Word of God, and your kids will be having fun while you're enjoying your spiritual felt time in the main pavilion. Just know that your kids will be attended to, and they're going to have a lot to say, and they're going to remember this convocation.
I know
I
that's right.
guarantee, because we're putting a lot of elbow grease, we're burning midnight oil, getting a lot of things together. Shout out to Desiree Moody from Jacksonville, Florida. We've been meeting together, and she is going to deck the place out. It's going to be amazing. So be ready. The curriculum is catered just for our conference. It's one of a kind. Okay, you can't get it off the shelf or off Amazon.
Ooh.
Come on.
It was catered for our young people. So be ready to be blessed. This is my why. Come get it.
I
And
love that.
and if I could just add for our parents
Yeah.
who register your kids for Convocation kids, that registration comes with access to the concert.
Yeah.
So concert time, we're gonna be one big happy family.
Yeah.
Kids, parents, youth, young adults, and even those that and Pastor Si,
Right.
I know you say young adults is 18 plus, right? We just to
Right.
we realize convocation. There's going to be people of all ages,
Of all ages.
and we want you all to know all ages are welcome.
That's right. That's right.
All ages are welcome. If you want to come for the day, you are welcome. If you want to come for and stay over, you're welcome. Just pull up.
Right.
Be prepared for a great time. And we're just excited for what's
Right.
getting ready to take place.
And you said something so key. Like, I really like how we made that decision to make the concert just family night.
That's right.
Because oftentimes, you know, we may want the children to not be a part of maybe an older crowd gathering, but it's important for children to see their parents in worship.
Absolutely.
You know, I think of Samuel in the Bible when he was watching Eli minister before the Lord, and God was calling out to him. And, you know, I don't think it took much for him to get activated because he saw it in practice. Joshua, Caleb, all of these young leaders. So we are raising up another generation of leaders, and we believe that's important. So Pastor Crockett, tell us about Amazing Grace. Am I giving too much information?
No. Roll with it. Roll with it. We rolling with it. I love it. Yeah. So as I was meeting with my team, you know, I got some all-stars. I got a squad. And we were discussing what we were going to do for an activity for convocation. And we just wanted to go a little out of the box.
Yeah.
We just wanted to switch it up a little. And so we're going to do a Bible-based, a Bible-themed, Sabbath-friendly scavenger hunt, right? And a couple years ago, I was working at South Central conference camp meeting. I was a student at Oakwood. It was like last year, you know.
Right.
You know, I was a student at Oakwood like last year, right?
And
Man, they had some dynamic youth leaders there. Myron Edmonds, WS Alfonso Green, Banyan Griffith.
big time.
I mean, some big names working.
Right.
And they had this event called The Amazing Grace. And it was a spin-off of The Amazing Race.
I love that show.
And so we're going to get our young people together. We're going to quiz them. We're going to question them all scripture, all Bible-based questions.
Right.
And they're going to have to go all over the campground, finding these answers and going to the next clue. And then the winning team is going to receive a really good prize, a really good prize.
Right.
And then who knows, maybe right before the concert, maybe we'll pull the winning team up and really showcase them. So that's our afternoon activity.
Right.
And then Pastor Eddie G, who is currently pastoring in Gainesville,
Yeah.
he's going to give us a devotional thought to sum up our Amazing Grace event. So listen, we really need your young people here. And Pat, you said something earlier. Both of you all did.
Right.
Like, this isn't just for convocation, but what we are attempting to do is to provide programming and ministry ideas that can be modeled at the local church level.
On a smaller scale.
Yeah. So come, especially if you're leaders,
Right.
take notes, soak it in, and tweak it to fit the context
Of
that you are
course.
ministering in.
Of
So
course.
that's what we have lined up
love
for our young people. Then of course skating. The skating rink is going to be lit.
Live, full
You know,
effect.
I'm probably
right?
going to have George Vaval on the ones and twos.
Come on.
Spinning the latest in gospel and Christian music. So you all want to come out and just get ready to have a great time.
Right. And many people are probably wondering, what are we doing with our 18 plus?
Come on, 18 plus.
I know, 18 plus. It's going to be a sight to see. We have young adults that are working now that are going to guide us through helping other young adults explore their why. And so there are going to be some icebreakers that are out there, and someone with a brief word, and Pastor Kimon Hines, he's going to just walk us through how do we explore our why. And as adults, sometimes it's hard, you know, because we are in this rat race and we're just trying to, figure our own lives out. And sometimes it's hard to pause and to reflect and to get to the root of our thinking and our reasoning. And so we have that time where it's going to be a room full of synergy, a room full of conversation. Be prepared to walk, in the main pavilion, and be prepared to meet people that you've never met before. And then we'll cap it off with our Y board. And so we're excited to roll out with a Y board. We want to say vision board, but we kind of like landed on Y board because it'll help us to be intentional throughout the year, throughout different programmings, to really, bring back these points and about our encounter together, about this is our why. And so I think we're about to land this plane soon and wrap up. But many have asked the question, what do I wear to a convocation? Like, do I need to show up in my Sabbath's best? Do I need to be dressed down to the nines? Like, what is our
Jordan 9s?
Hey, Jordan 9s, come on and say
my fault. Just
amen.
9.
Okay. Okay, but yeah, what is our attire for the day? I heard Pat say, make sure parents, you bring your children in some clothes that they can move around in. Because I heard there's going to be some climbing and stuff like that. But I heard a term that we threw around called camp casual. What's camp casual, and what can people expect about what we should wear this weekend?
Just want to reiterate, for the children, we need them comfortable because, again, we have a lot of activities and they're going to need to be able to move around freely. We want them to be able to enjoy themselves and not worry about messing up their beautiful dresses or suits. We want them to be able to enjoy themselves and not be concerned if they're going to get in trouble for messing up their attire. So please, again, just want to reiterate to you, just have them come comfortable, in comfortable attire, tennis shoes, jeans, t-shirt, and we will also provide them with a t-shirt. All our kids will be wearing the same color t-shirt. That way we can spot them from a mile away. We chose the neon color so that we can spot them. Again, register, because when you register, we can make sure we have enough material for each child.
Thank you for that. So what kind of casual gear are we looking at, Pastor Crockett?
Sure. First, I want you to come comfortable. And I understand for some you may be comfortable in more formal. Yeah. Right?
That's true.
You may feel comfortable in a shirt and tie for my youth. And that's fine, right? Yeah. What am I going to wear? I'm just going to let you know what I'm going to wear, and then you all can feel comfortable from there. Right. Yeah, I'm probably going to have on some khakis and a button-up shirt like this, and some kicks, right? Some kicks out of the closet. And if you have like a Bible-based T-shirt, with like a flannel or a jean jacket, I think that would be a great idea to bring. But just keep in mind, we are doing the scavenger hunt. Right. And as Sister Pat, I'm sorry, Pat, the sister, I don't know, right? And as Pat shared with us, you're doing a scavenger hunt, going throughout the campground, dress shoes and ties. If you're going to make your children wear that, give them a little grace and mercy with how their shoes look, right? And so that's just all. We don't want anybody to feel like they have to do one or the other. No. But in the same sentence,
highly recommended.
Right, it's highly recommended and functional. Right. So we'll be casual. And so I look forward to seeing all my youth. Can I just do this real quick?
Do it.
I gotta give a big shout out to my club ministries.
That's right.
To my adventurers,
shout them out.
to my pathfinders, to my master guides.
Right.
Like, they are a very important part of youth ministries, and I know the bulk of the youth that are going to be there are pathfinders. That's right. And adventurers. They're active. They're always going on. So just big shout out to all my club ministries. I appreciate all that you all are doing, along with my AY leaders.
Right. Well, thank you too for leading us in that, just that conversation on how people can show up, because oftentimes we don't have a dress code, but we just really encourage people to just be as comfortable as they want to be. But the biggest thing is someone may say, I came in my 9s and 10s, and you all are dressed casually. I wish I would have known.
Right.
And that's always the remark that I would typically get. Like, why didn't I know that I can wear this? And quick story, I went to go preach at First U a couple of weeks ago. And I came early, ready to go. And so I saw the usher. She was wearing some Dunks. And I said, hold up. Y'all do that at First U? And she says, yes, Pastor. And so I had on, my formal shoes to preach in. And I said, well, no. I said, if you're dressed down, I want to also be a part of the culture and be dressed down. So I went back to where I was staying, and I had to go get my Jordans and preaching in the Jordans for Jesus. Amen.
Yes.
And so I say all of that to say is that, I felt out of place, because I'm like, if I'm ministering to young adults, then I want to make sure that they feel comfortable with, how I'm delivering my message and being as comfortable as I possibly can. And they received me so well. God really blessed on that Sabbath. And so as we wrap up, I just want us to just kick it back to Pat. I think Pat has a couple more things she wants to share. Pat, go right ahead.
In case you're wondering if you can be part of the convocation, you want to help out, yes, we still do need help. So please reach out to us. We are in need of more volunteers. So if you're interested, send us an email at childrensministry.org, youthministries.org. We're going to put the information on the chat. So we are still in need of volunteers. So if you would like to be part of our group, please reach out to us, and we will give you information as to how to get a background check, because that is very important. So if you are interested, we can use more help. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And I think the help, as well as more information, we've had the opportunity to sit with different youth groups. We've sat in on meetings just for those churches that may have had additional questions about what the weekend entails. So we want to invite you, if you weren't able to catch this broadcast and you just heard about it in passing, we want to invite you to reach out to Children's Ministry, our youth and our young adult department, and we're more than happy to guide you all through the process and to answer any further questions that you may have. And so before I close us out, were there any other things that we need to mention before we wrapped up?
Sure. Another shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
Our technology, our communication team.
Absolutely.
Like, they have been working nonstop,
Blue
trying
Dream.
to make real-time adjustments. Pastor Cruz is backstage on the ones and twos right now.
Yes.
And one of the things I think is very important, everybody you're watching, whether it's on our YouTube channel, our brand new YouTube channel, or our Facebook Live right now. If you're on Facebook Live, like, it is so critical for us. If you could right now, just hit the like button. It does a whole lot. And then also, if you can share it, because there are many individuals at your church, in your youth ministries program, and your young adult and your children's ministries who weren't on the live tonight. This is very spontaneous. We put this together. And so if you share it, they can come across it, see it, watch it, get up to date. And also, I put in the chat our brand new YouTube page.
That's right.
We need you to subscribe. Say that again. We need you to subscribe. One more time. We need you to subscribe. So that whenever we go live, whenever we update or upload content, you all can be notified. Whether it's convocation, whether it's camp meeting, whatever else we're putting on as a conference, we need you all to be notified and be there for us.
Right.
Absolutely.
And along that same vein, as we're giving shout outs, and I think we collectively can all get behind this, we want to shout out our administration.
Come on now.
Absolutely. For the support.
Yes, man. Like, our administration has been top tier. They have really just listened to our vision. They have allowed us to have a high ceiling to do high level ministry. And so we know that some of them are watching tonight, but we want to publicly acknowledge Dr. Owusu, Pastor Pierre Francois, as well as Elder Emmanuel Charles, that allows us to do ministry at a high level. And so whatever you see happen that weekend, it's a result of, one, the prayers of our team, our administrative assistants, our office staff that really come to us and just rally around us, as well as our conference leadership that just trusts us to put these programs together. So we say thank you, because it's just really a reflection of their leadership and how much they trust what we do. And so I want us to close with this statement. Convocation will be ... Convocation will be ... How would you feel that impact?
Outstanding. Epic.
I love it.
Out of the box.
Yeah.
Unforgettable. Impressionable.
Unforgettable.
All right now, preacher, singer. What about you, Pastor?
Yeah.
Luca?
I'm going to say Convocation is going to be lit. It's going to be an amazing time. Our young people are going to be able to be in a safe space. They're going to see their friends, meet new friends, be poured into, be able to worship God, hands raised,
Right.
And then have a great time Saturday night. It's going to be lit. And if you don't know what lit is, it's going to be amazing. Right? It's going to be amazing.
I would say Convocation will be life-changing. The reason why it's going to be life-changing, because I believe that this will be the catalyst for many churches to see what children's ministry is all about and why it's so important. And it's going to give maybe you, Pat, just the opportunity to train some churches at the local level to do high-level children's ministry programs. It's going to be life-changing for you, Pastor Crockett, because I believe a lot of young people that are not Pathfinders or in club ministries, they're going to be curious about, how can I be a part of this group that just did the scavenger hunt, that have these bonds and connections? Like, I want to be a part of that, because I don't get that at my school or maybe at my church. And so I want to be a part of something that is just very, just contagiously fun. And I think for young adults, it will be life-changing for young adults, because we know that, you know, our church is in a crisis with this age group. And a lot of them, they love God, but, you know, they are on the fence with their faith and their connection to the church. And so the prayer is that Convocation will be life-changing, because they will reimagine what church can look like in their own context. And so that's our prayer tonight. And we want to invite you all to join us in prayer. When you think of Convocation, when you hear Kalante Gavin, when you hear KCJ, and even this broadcast, just say a prayer for us. Can you all do that? Can you all get in the chat just to say that we're gonna pray for you? Maybe hit us with an amen, and that will just really rattle the stage up in heaven to just shower us down with some blessings.
All right.
Amen.
So we have our final commercial, and then we're signing off. So I guess we can sign off, and then the commercial can play. Any sign-off words, Pat?
Thank you for joining us tonight, and we're hoping that you show up and show out, because we know God is going to show up and show out.
I look forward to seeing all of my young people. You all come, be comfortable, and just be ready. Be ready to have a great time.
I'm ready to hang out with my 18-plus people.
Come on.
So 18-plus, if you're out there, let's do our thing and just praise God in spirit and in truth. Until next time, peace, y'all.
Each of us have questions. Questions such as, why me? How could this be? Why am I the one that's being bullied? Why did I have to lose my mom or my dad? Why am I struggling with this or with that? It does not matter if you are a child, a youth, or a young adult. We all have questions. We have external questions, questions about society. How could this be happening? Why am I tempted in this way? And then there are internal questions also, the decisions that we make, the things that we have control over. We have external questions and internal questions. And then there is a reason. The reason why God chose you, the reason why you're going through. And we want to come together, Convocation 2022, and discuss why this is my why. There's a reason. There's a reason God handpicked you. There's a reason why you're going through what you're going through. There's a reason why we make the decisions that we have made. And we want to come together, you, me, the children, the youth, and the young adult, and let's discuss this is my why.